what's amazing about all four of these responses, and it ties exactly into what Sonia was talking about, is that when you craft your, not craft, that's not the right word because that sounds controlling, but when you develop your language and what you're going to say to people based around them and their need and what might fit into them, see how different it would be? So for someone who's looking for fun, you know, you don't necessarily want to talk about all the money that you're going to make, right? I mean, that's not what they're looking for. Maybe, I mean, that could be part of it, but it's the fun and the adventure that they're going to have. For someone else, it's, you know, another person controlling their time and what they get to do. For another person, it's, you know, their child who they want to be home with. And for someone else, it's just home, period, and missing all that and being gone, traveling, and not having control there. So it is interesting that it ties right into that when you get to know your prospector, when you really think about what the benefit statement is for them. It's pretty powerful in how you can really develop that to where they can begin to see themselves into the equation of what's going to work. So that was good. Thanks for sharing those, because it was kind of fun that they all were so different, really. All right, so moving on. That's why this is so funny. I was reading her PowerPoint thinking, wow, this is dead on. What you say does make a difference. So what I want to do now is I want to spend a little bit of time, and we're going to develop a little bit of scripting for each of you that kind of fits in with you. Because as anybody else struggled with when you've read your Getting Started manual or whatever, and you see kind of like how you're supposed to approach people, hey, you know, have you ever considered diversifying your income, or you need an additional revenue stream, or, you know, different things like that, and you look at that and you think, no. Anybody? Yeah, and then sometimes we struggle thinking, well, then what do I say? You know, what's the right thing to say? And I mean, unfortunately, for most people, I think when we get trained, unless you really have a spectacular sponsor who takes a lot of time with that, and it's not their fault in most cases, you know, you kind of get the Getting Started training manual, and it's kind of like, make your list, and I'll help you make some calls if you need me to, and here you go, and good luck. So we're going to spend a little bit of time developing some scripting around that. So the first thing, in what you had kind of written down previously, why did you join? Why did you join your company? So you're going to take that. Yeah, okay. So two key pieces in developing your contacting language. Why did you pull out your credit card and sign up? Why did you do that? So you kind of already have that written down, but you may want to expand on that a little bit, because that's kind of going to make it comfortable for you then to lead into your story, hopefully. So that's step number one. And then step number two, and this is important because it's going to be different with each person who you speak to. When you first contact them, I thought of you because. I thought of you because. So what I'd like for you to do is, next to those 10 names that you wrote down who are kind of on your chicken list that you didn't want to contact, what would be, if you were going to call them, what would be your reason? What could you see about your company, their situation, etc., that you might develop into that language that you would say to them that would be a fit, that would make it, that would pique their interest? Because what we want to do here is we want to go from kind of polite, you know, interest in what you're saying to really a more sincere interest, because now you've brought them into the process. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Bringing them into the process of it, where it's about them, because you know, it is the WIFM. What's in it for me is always what's at the forefront. So the more that you can begin to put them into that picture as you speak to them, the better off you're going to be. And that's, you know, even, I mean, kind of like what we covered yesterday in social media marketing. You know, same thing. That's where developing the relationship, you know, using that as a tool is just the same as anything else. You're still developing relationships and still getting to the heart of what that might be, so that when you have the conversation, it fits in. So those are the things that we're going to say. So why did you pull out your credit card? Which, you know, really is what excites you about the company, what excites you about the products. You want to avoid using that hypey language that, you know, doesn't make any sense. Sonia did a great job of hitting on some of those. You know, one of the favorite ones that I always hear is nutraceuticals. I don't hear that as much anymore, but remember when it was like, what's a nutraceutical? What is that, you know? You know, just different things like that. People don't understand pay plan terminology. Oh, we're a binary, or we're a matrix, or we're this, or we've got, you know, the Starfleet Commander matching bonus that comes in on the 8th level and then pays down to 15 and all this other stuff, you know, and they're doing the deer in the headlight thing, and you're losing them. So when you develop your story, you kind of want to share that in a brief thing. You know, what it is that excited you about the company, what made you take a look, what do you see as the potential, you know, what's your long-term plan, and then, you know, what it was that made you want to get involved.